Hello, welcome back to the channel. I have pretty much worn this jumper every day since October 1st. I obviously got it secondhand. As you can see, the orange part of the pumpkin has mostly worn off, but I was wondering if I could maybe buy some fabric paint and like go over it with that to make it orange again. However, I do not trust my arts and crafts skills in any way. Anything to do with drawing is completely beyond my skill set. So I think I'd rather leave it slightly disheveled than potentially actually make it worse by trying to fix it. So far this month, I have been reading 2 books, one for Victober and one for the fact that it is Halloween month. So the Victober book is The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. This is the read-along book, I think it's called, for Victober. To be honest, I haven't really followed along that closely with Victober, which is my bad. I think I just watched Katie from Books and Things' introductory Victober video for this year, and she mentioned that this was like one of the books that they were reading. And because I have it on my shelf and I've never read it, I just thought I would read it now. I've only read Far From the Madding Crowd from Thomas Hardy before, which I did really enjoy, but I had heard that was considered one of his best books. And I don't know, in my head, I just have this idea that Thomas Hardy's really difficult to read, but actually I'm finding this one really easy to get through and quite a lot of fun to read as well, so I'm really pleasantly surprised at that. There are actually so many twists and turns in this book, and I haven't read a Victorian book like for the first time in such a long time, so I guess I kind of forgot how twisty and melodramatic they can be, which is why they can be so fun to read. This book begins with an absolute banger of a chapter. It starts off with this man, his wife, and their small daughter traveling on their way into a country town, and they happen upon this sort of agricultural festival. The father gets really drunk and he actually auctions off his own wife and child, partly thinking that no one was really going to take him up on it, but then some guy actually does end up paying him money and takes her away. That's just like such an intriguing way to start a novel. And then the book jumps forward and we find that that drunk guy actually decided after that moment to be sober, to be a teetotaler, and somehow ended up being quite successful and became the mayor of Casterbridge. And we are introduced to this town of Casterbridge through the eyes of the mother and daughter who have returned after the guy that they went off with, he's died. So the mother has decided she's going to seek out the husband that sold her, but her daughter doesn't know that this is what they're doing because she still believes that the guy who bought them was her real father. I have about 200 pages to go and there's already been so many twists about characters and their origins. So it's actually just been a really fun reading experience. I just wasn't expecting there to be so much in it. From reading the back of the book, it didn't really imply that this was what the story was going to be. I love the way he's really focused in on the town's Roman history as well. There's lots of descriptions of the way that the people who live in this town live alongside the graves of centuries old Romans and this old Roman arena that sits within the town. I think that's such an interesting atmospheric addition to the story, and he really just captures this rural atmosphere so well, which is what he's known for, so it shouldn't be a surprise. It's just really fun, and I'm glad it is, because I just wasn't expecting Thomas Hardy to be fun, I guess. The book I'm reading to get into the more Halloween theme of the October month is Dark Tales by Shirley Jackson. I only started this yesterday, and actually really probably started it today. I only read a few pages yesterday, and I've already got through 3 stories, and they are so good. I haven't read Shirley Jackson's short stories before, and I've always known that she was very famous for them. Now I'm seeing why this is the case, and now it's just like so painfully obvious why she's famous for her short stories more than her novels, I think, because these are so good. I've said this many times, but I don't really like short stories a lot of the time. I prefer to be invested in one whole story and characters over a longer period of time, and I think novels you can get away with everything not being perfect because there's always going to be something good in it, whereas if a short story is bad, it's just the whole thing is bad. Shirley Jackson is proving why being a short story writer is a particular talent, and she absolutely has it. And I think it's given me a bit more of an understanding of why I haven't got along with her novels that well, because I think she's incredibly good at character and of creating a really vivid scene and a vivid atmosphere, but I've found her plots really lacking because a lot of her books are just simply plotless. They really suffer from being a little bit too vague. Personally, for me, I don't like things being that vague, and so I found them quite a frustrating experience to read because I wasn't really sure what was happening. Basically, The Haunting of Hill House and We Have Always Lived in the Castle are so far the only 2 novels of hers that I've really enjoyed, so I'm just very happy that these are so good. These short stories so far have only been like 10 to 20 pages each. They're just such a perfect length. She just perfectly puts you in this character's headspace or straight into the events of whatever they're doing on the particular day that she's writing about. You instantly know who these people are, you know their situation, you know where they exist in the world, and then she just has this creepy, disturbed side to the plot that just adds a whole nother level to the story. The second story in the collection, Louisa Please Come Home, has such a good twist ending. It was so good. So sad, but also just they feel so accurate to human behavior and so well observed. I know that The Lottery is Shirley Jackson's like most famous short story, which isn't in this collection, it's in another collection I have of hers. I picked this one over that only because the cover of this one looks more spooky. The cover of The Lottery and Other Stories is more of a summary looking book. And I know that shouldn't matter, but you know, I want to be in the vibes. So maybe I'll read that one in summer, and that's something I can look forward to. I'm very excited about these 2 books because I feel like I haven't read anything that's got me really excited for reading in a long time. So I'm happy to be excited about reading again. I feel like I've traveled back in time to like 2010s YouTube with this angle, but I thought I would just update you on what I finished reading in October, which was only 1 book, and that was Dark Tales by Shirley Jackson. I definitely ended up really enjoying this. There were a few stories that I didn't love as much as others. Shirley Jackson really does have a habit of putting the meaning of her stories so below the surface that for me, I had no idea what she was getting at, to be honest. I think subtext can be too sub sometimes. A lot of the stories just ended and I was like, what was I meant to infer from this? But there were definitely a bunch of them that I absolutely loved that just sent shivers up my spine when I finished them. And then I didn't end up reading much more of The Mayor of Casterbridge because I was busy reading the other book and I just struggled to read 2 books at once. I'm going to end the vlog there. As always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know any thoughts you have about books, films, anything in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!